Chris here, and in this video we are talking about a mashup of two awesome 1980s franchises, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and Transformers. This is not the first time they've crossed over in action figure form. In fact, it's the second, and these are the brand new releases from the second line. So we've got He-Man wearing Optimus Prime armour, and we've got Starscream in Scareglow armour. These look great. Let's open them up and have a look. Believe it or not, this is not the first time in action figure form that Masters of the Universe and Transformers have crossed over. So a couple of months ago was the first release, which was a bit controversial. Not everybody liked it, but it was Man-at-Arms in Bumblebee armour and Skeletor in Megatron armour. So they weren't Transformers, and they weren't really Masters of the Universe figures as such. They were basically MOTU figures with add-on parts, which looks like Transformers. But I actually liked them. Fortunately, they're heavily discounted here in Australia at Kmart. They've been that way for about a month or so now. So if you do like the first wave, now's the time to grab them. These haven't been released as yet, so both of these I just got from the Mattel Creations website. So they are exclusive to the website, at least for now. I don't know if they will be released in retail. Just like the first wave, you can see how awesome the packaging is. They've got the familiar logos at the top with the red exploding rocks for the good guys and the purple exploding rocks for the bad guys, and we have the kind of Transformers kind of vector graphic-y style applied to Snake Mountain and Castle Grayskull on the background. On the side we have awesome pictures of all these four characters. So we've got Scareglow, Starscream, He-Man and Optimus Prime, so some pretty four big hitters. And on the back of the cards we have some wonderful art showing all the accessories, bit of text on the corner there showing a bit of this world. I'm not sure if a comic explaining this will come out. I hope so, because that would be pretty awesome. But when Thundercats and He-Man, they've also crossed over, and He-Man and Ninja Turtles have also crossed over, and there was a comic for that one. So yes, some pretty awesome artwork. Mattel, as I always say in these Mattel unboxing videos, 10 out of 10 every time for their packaging. They are wonderful display pieces. Here's a good look at Scareglow in Starscream armour. I've got to make sure I get that right, not the other way around. And like all MOTU Origins figures, he also comes with a little fold-out brochure kind of thing, telling you which parts of the figure are removable, so you can still remove the limbs and stuff, which is awesome. And they do come with a mini comic. So I know with the He-Man Ninja Turtles there was a full-size comic as well, but yes, this is different from the comic that came with the first two figures, and that's just, this focuses obviously on He-Man and Scareglow here, and Skeletor mixing things up as well. So it doesn't say any new figures that are coming, but yes, just a few different pages from an awesome mini comic with great artwork. And then here we have the figure himself, and like the package says, he is, like all Scareglow figures, are glow in the dark, so we'll test that later on for sure. But he comes with a few accessories, and they've actually done pretty well. Like, he's ticking all the boxes for Scareglow with the purples and the whites and the blacks, and Starscream with the yellows and reds as well. He's the bad boy himself, so Scareglow wearing Starscream's armour, and the designers have done a fabulous job. So you can see that he comes with two weapons which can be held in either hand. They can also attach to his shoulders, so they can either be wielded as an axe or a gun, really, as the back of the box shows him wielding both axes, but it also works as guns, and they're reminiscent of the wings or the fins, I guess, in Starscream's jet mode. He also comes with a purple cape. Purple is the colour of Scareglow. He also comes with a purple cape, and he also comes with a crown. And those who've watched the 1986 Transformers animated movie will remember the scene in which Starscream, after apparently Megatron's death, Starscream crowns himself as the leader of the Decepticons. Doesn't last long, but there's been a few figures over the decades referred to as Coronation Starscream, which gives him the crown and the cape. But yes, a pretty awesome looking figure. They've nailed the aesthetic of both of these characters, Starscream and Scareglow, pretty well. is very poseable, just like all the Origins figures are, and as the pamphlet says, you can indeed take his body apart. I will say, do be careful with the crown and placing it on his head. It is pliable plastic, like it's pretty bendy, but it is a bit of a tight squeeze over his head. So even though it is quite soft plastic, you can see I've even got some little white stress marks just trying to put it on, so on the back there. So just be careful. You might want to heat it up or something, but yeah, it's pretty awesome, and they've certainly got some deep cuts with the 1986 movie, which is delightful. I will say the back of the box as well, much like the first two figures did, in another nod to the Transformers action figures of the 80s, the little inside flap on the cardboard box has a little bio or tech spec of the characters and their readouts and abilities and all that kind of thing, so that is a very nice touch. The plastic cape that he comes with is pretty solid, so it can actually be removed. There's just a couple of pegs on the back, which is easy enough to remove if you don't want to display him with the cape and the crown, but it is a bit of a harder plastic, so it is somewhat flexible. Won't get in the way of posing, but yeah, it's definitely not a cloth cape. And yeah, as I said, he's a glow-in-the-dark figure as well, so let's give that a shot, shall we? So really it's just his kind of torso, his arms and his face that light up, not his whole entire body. But you can see the different, more translucent plastic. You can actually remove the kind of shoulder pauldrons as well that come with him. Things to just go over his either shoulder, so you could just remove those if you want a bit of a cleaner look on your Starscream. So when you remove the arms, they just kind of go underneath there. But yeah, a pretty cool figure, as I said, pretty poseable, certainly a lot more poseable than the vintage He-Man figures, and the removable parts certainly help as well. Obviously it's not a transformer. It's not transforming into Starscream. It's basically Scareglow wearing Starscream's armor. So we've got the familiar helmet and as I said, the fins and the color scheme, and that's the kind of the torso, which we all know from the front of the jet mode. So yeah, pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty difficult thing to get both characters together in one form but make both of them recognizable, but they've certainly done a good job. I don't know how many more of these figures they're going to produce, but so far we've got pretty cool four figures so far. Anyway, let's have a look at He-Man in Optimus Prime armor. We have a awesome packaging as well, and again we turn it over and we've got some lovely embossed kind of artwork on the back, a very action focused shot, exploding rocks and all the good stuff, and He-Man wearing Optimus's armor, a figure I never thought I'd see. Let's open him up. And again, he comes with a little pamphlet showing what parts are removable, and the same comic as well, just a few pages with some lovely artwork. Doesn't credit the writer or artist, unfortunately, but I think it might be Freddie Williams III art, but I'm not sure. And I will say, if you want to keep the plastic insert, you can certainly do that. There's a lot of ties that just need to be snipped, but you can basically put these figures back in and then slip them back into the cardboard box if you just want to display them after you play with them. And also on both flaps, he's also got the kind of tech specs that we know and love from the original Transformers figures. A bit of a bio, which is lovely to see. He comes with a couple of cool accessories, including this wonderful power sword, He-Man's familiar weapon, which looks like it's got the matrix of leadership in the center there, which is pretty cool, and it's got this lovely blue kind of techie texture to it. Similar, so does the shield. Obviously we know new He-Man came with a circular shield, which looks similar to this, and it also looks like kind of the shape on his armor, little kind of H cross kind of thing. So that's pretty awesome, nice touch. Optimus Prime sometimes features an axe that comes from his hand, which featured in I think maybe one episode of the cartoon, which is awesome. Obviously He-Man came with an axe, the original figure as well, and there's just a bit of a mouth guard to kind of go over his jaw. So 4 accessories for He-Man in his Optimus Prime armor. There he is with the faceplate on, so he looks more like Optimus Prime, and I will say it's a bit finicky, but it's easier just to remove the head, then place the faceplate into the 2 grooves on the sides there, and then pop his head back on. Also, his right fist comes with a swivel fist that goes up and down rather than side to side, which is awesome, and that means that he can hold the sword aloft just like that. That's a relatively new feature in the Mattel Origins lines. The MOTU 2000X cartoon figure which is just released, also had the same swivel hand, horizontal swivel, or yes, vertical swivel hand. Anyway, it goes up and down rather side to side, which allows him, so same fist, which is lovely, so you can get those action poses. Thankfully he has no problem holding any of them, and it's wonderful that he can in fact carry all of them and store the sword on the back, which is awesome. And the plastic armour is actually quite pliable, quite soft, you can see there. He does have the familiar smokestacks and red Autobot symbol, just like Optimus Prime had. It kind of reminds me of, he looks like a 1950s gridiron player or something, just the way he's looking here with all this getup. But yeah, certainly looking pretty awesome. If you were going to mash up He-Man and Optimus Prime, this is what he would look like, so they've done a good job with that. Unfortunately, on top of that wonderful face sculpt is a non-removable helmet piece, so that Optimus Prime helmet piece can't be removed, unfortunately. But you know, the arms and the legs and the feet can, and the waist, as the little pamphlet shows. He doesn't glow in the dark, but he looks pretty awesome nonetheless. On the right is the missing link Optimus Prime from Takara Tomy that was released recently, and they're doing more in that series. It's basically exactly like you remember the original 1980s Optimus Prime, but with a lot more posability, and that was one of the first reviews on my channel, so I do recommend giving that a watch. But yeah, this is an awesome figure, and it does come with the trailer and a whole bunch of accessories as well. But yes, you can certainly see the design beats you know, that they followed, with the red shoulders and the smokestacks, the orange axe, the blue boots, and I like how they've kind of got the He-Man familiar harness going into like the grille on the front, and Optimus Prime's kind of windows and all that kind of stuff. The head looks very similar to the design there. So yeah, pretty awesome, and I just love how they've embedded and kind of integrated the matrix of leadership. If I can open Optimus Prime here, take his head and move this down, and that's the matrix of leadership inside, which is obviously the same on the sword. So a lot of nice little hints and tricks and tips which show these two figures and how closely aligned they are from a design perspective. Here are the two new figures with the two older figures. So we've got Skeletor in Megatron armor and Man-at-Arms in Bumblebee armor, and I think I like these new two figures a lot better. These come with, you know, a lot more accessories, but I think they've kind of nailed the aesthetic of combining the two franchises here with the new ones a lot better. So there we go, bit of a quick comparison. So what do you think? Are these an awesome idea of two 80s franchises that definitely should mash up, or is this a terrible meeting of the minds? But so far I really like the Masters of the Universe and Transformers line. They've crossed over, as I said, with Ninja Turtles and Thundercats. Who knows what is next, but I don't know how far this line will go. So far, I'm pretty impressed. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, and let me know your thoughts below. Goodbye, geeks.